go.
You're probably right. I'd say it's a gambling. Yeah, probably gambling. What's this? You're sitting all the way in the back of the room hiding there when you don't have it. You know, we used to do that. What the hell do you do? You have a speech?
No, I'm just here. I can, you know.
Silent Don. They put your stuff on the floor. We have ways. It's close. That's what you put a big ass. That's right. Was it close? I was looking policy a year ago. Just after the time. I was looking at the amounts and we jumped right up.
So I said, send me the names, we'll add it to the list. The dividing.
Okay, good evening, everyone. The Economic Development Committee meeting of February the 2nd, please come to order. Under courtesy of the floor, I believe we have guests from Meals on Wheels. Thank you. Would you like to step to the podium, please?
It's the first, it should say Northampton County.
Oh, it's a new system.
I can't read it.
I am with this one.
Nobody can read that. Look,
There you go. Slideshow from the beginning.
let me have your glasses.
Can I show it on full screen or not?
We need big ones like that.
Well, they can change the font. I mean, they can.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to present Joanne Nenow from Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels is one of our CDBG recipients, awardees, and they've come to tell you what they feel about that.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. First of all, before I start, I want to thank you all for the support that we've received from CDBG in Northampton County. The money has paid over the past 5 years a number of different equipment needs that we needed. So I have a PowerPoint. Thought I'd just run through it for you. Do I need the microphone? Can you hear me? Good.
You have to speak.
Because I have to
You have to talk to the microphone.
Yeah, you have
I
to
do.
talk
I'm
into the
sorry.
mic.
How's that?
You have to be officially recorded.
It's we're recording.
As you see up on the screen, our mission is to promote healthy living through the delivery of nutrition services. We have quite a large operation. The budget's $3.5 million, and we make all the meals for Lehigh County Senior Centers, the adult daycare centers, a child care center, Meals on Wheels programs in Lehigh and Monroe counties, Meals on Wheels in Phillipsburg, and 1,500 clients in our own county. In Northampton County, we're serving 740 clients daily. That number has increased to 72 more a daily average than it was last year. So we're doing about 1,500 people. And as you can see, there's a cost savings also. Costs about $4,745 a year to stay in your home. Nobody wants to leave their home. Just the menu items, what we offer traditional clients, usually it's a hot meal and a cold bag dinner. Trying to go a little faster. Chef packs, we have a frozen meal program, which is quite nice also. We have lots of dietary needs that we meet. All our meals are diabetic friendly, renal, chopped, soft, pureed, food preferences, all heart healthy, all low sodium, low fat across the board. We have a Better Fresh project that we actually started prior to 3 years ago. 3 years ago is when we received funding for the project, and it's to get more fresh produce into our meals. So we do support our local farmers in the area. We'll probably do about $150,000 worth of produce business with them this year. And just some pictures of our food that we make and our chef. We're part of Buy Fresh, Buy Local, Lehigh Valley. Those are the 9 farms we're dealing with currently: Casabianca up in Williams Township, Twin Maple, Shoal Orchards, Hunter Hills out in Forks Township, Primordia Mushroom Farm, Eat More Produce, Rodale Farms up at St. Luke's campus, and Untitled Orchards, which we just discovered last year. Untitled. Really good fruit.
Anteloni, it's a great area.
Oh,
Anteloni.
This is how we process some of the fresh vegetables that we get. Really cool machine here. It's called the RoboCoo. You can throw a bunch of cucumbers in and it just slices them right out. It's a really neat machine. Again, some of our people in the kitchen. These are volunteers, actually. If we have a farm that donates produce for us, they're donating like 600 pounds at a time, and we can't process that during the normal operations in the kitchen. So we'll have a group of volunteers come in the afternoon. They'll cut it, slice it, peel it, whatever, and they get it ready for the chefs in the morning. Some of our food services staff. This is what a little bit of our kitchen. And a little bit of our kitchen there. They start at 4 in the morning. We're preparing 2,200 meals a day. We will surpass 565,000 this year. And that heat sealing machine on the bottom with the 3-compartment tray, that was paid for by CDBG funding. So thank you. That was our first grant that we received about 5 years ago. Again, more kitchen prep. And as you see, everything is sealed and labeled with the person's diet on, everything else. This is how they transport them. They put the hot meals in the red bags and the cold meals in the Coleman coolers. The volunteers come. There's 1,500 volunteers that we utilize throughout the year. They are the backbone of the organization, and they each pick up a bag, and they're off delivering on 58 routes in Northampton County, and we are doing about 740 clients on average a day. Blizzard bags, of course, you're familiar with. I think when we can't get out there and deliver because of the snow, we make sure our clients have 3 blizzard bags or frozen meals at all times during the winter weather in case we can't get to them. We also have a pet food program. Clients who have dogs or cats or birds or fish or hamsters or whatever, we get pet food donated, and we will send that out to them along with their meal. Pets are very important. That is their family member, and a lot of them are very isolated. We have a grocery shopping service also that is available for not just Meals on Wheels clients, but any older or disabled person in Northampton County who needs help shopping that just can't get to the grocery store. And they can grocery shop with us once a week. It's a great program. Okay, I went through that. Some pictures of our volunteers. And of course, providing the meal is the most important part. The second part, though, is checking on that client to make sure they're okay. Our volunteers have saved lives. They have called gas companies. They've called 911. And it's great. It gives the family great peace of mind when they're at work and they can't be there with mom and dad during the day. Loading up. Our budget, I also put a copy of this PowerPoint in your packet also. 29% of our budget is government funding. We fundraise about 20%. And as you can see, our meal contracts that we have are in there also. Challenges. The rising number of seniors and disabled that we're serving is certainly a challenge. The state of Pennsylvania is 4th in the nation with an elderly population over the age of 65. Pennsylvania is 4th behind West Virginia right now. So that presents challenges. We're living longer. The health system's doing a fantastic job. The number of meals that we're producing continues to increase. I just got the stats for this month, and we are making 19,600 meals more this time than we were this time last year. 16,000 of those meals are our clients in Northampton County. So we have seen a dramatic increase in our clients in Northampton County. Not as much in Lehigh County, though. And because we do make their meals, so we kind of know how many people they are serving. At this point in time, our building that was built in 1991, we are landlocked. We have outgrown the building. We're on 2 acres of land out on Fritz Drive in Bethlehem. And right now we're looking at the building to see what we can possibly do to extend out the back of the building. Storm drainage is going to be our issue right now, but I think if we can overcome that, that they'll let us do it. And I think what we can do is build 8,000 square feet straight out the back with a 3,000 square foot basement, which would be great for storage. And that will definitely, there'll be room for us to grow into as well as meet our needs right now. This summer, we are putting in a 40-foot refrigerator in the parking lot. That is the only place we can put it. So that will be going straight out the garage door in the back, and then we'll be able to take the existing refrigerator freezer walk-in that we have and make that into one entire freezer. And that should hold us for a while before we start at the actual building process, which could take about 2 years. So, questions?
I know you mentioned the road, but it's like I think of it as off Broadhead.
It is off Broadhead, yes. It's all the way back. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I just think it's a great service, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
And I hope we continue to invest in the equipment, because it sounds like you're going to need it.
Equipment is huge in a commercial kitchen. That sealing machine that you so generously provided to us was about $40,000. The combi oven that you had provided for us was another $40,000. The refrigerator is up about $67,000. So it's pricey equipment, but it lasts a really, really long time. And again, thank you so much. We truly appreciate the support from the county, and thank you again for allowing me to be here tonight. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So if you ever get the idea that these federal programs are just these slogging construction things, it's all about the people. And we're very, very proud to work on behalf of the county to see that this kind of work continues and does better. Frank, we're doing the freezer, right? Yes.
That's
How
the
much?
SIP, right? No?
$20,000 towards the freezer.
SIP application went to the CDBG. Okay.
Do you have trouble getting volunteers? It seems like that's a tremendous amount.
Very fortunate. We haven't had a lot of problem like we've had at other Meals on Wheels across the country. Lehigh Valley, I believe, is a very giving and supportive community. And a lot of our volunteers are over the age of 65, and there's a lot of them.
I know many of my friends do. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I add? That's how I know where that building is at, because I've delivered some food out of
Yeah.
it
Well,
myself, so.
So did Mario.
Okay, well, thank you. We're very proud to. Hi, Lynn. We're very proud to continue that kind of activity. This is just one of the many organizations that do great work in the county. Thanks to you guys giving us a green light on projects. Now we'd like to move, if we may, Madam Chairperson, to the discussion regarding the Da Vinci Science Center grant. Mark, I'm going to have you come up here and do that. And then we have a presentation.
Hi, everybody. So tonight we're here as we've been talking to Da Vinci, and they're doing their feasibility studies here for the project in Easton, we had advised them to apply for hotel tax and for a SIP application. And they did apply for a SIP application, and it was reviewed very favorably, and we were prepared to include that in our SIP recommendations. And at the last minute, because the property hadn't been secured, we got a little nervous and didn't want the site location to get out, and once you approve a grant, it's public knowledge. So we pulled that back, and now we're back in front of you to request an additional $50,000 in addition to the $50,000 that was put in through the 2005 hotel tax towards the site feasibility of this project. So it would be a total of $100,000 going to the feasibility portion of this project. The other wrinkle that we are requesting is that the $50,000, instead of it coming out of table games, we don't have the balance in table games to fund that anymore because of the allocations to the prison and Braden Air Park. And our recommendation is that it would come out of the 2005 hotel tax funding, which there's plenty in there to cover that. And so instead of 50 coming out of the 2005, it would be a full 100.
I'd like to clarify, too, the original estimate for the entire program was $1 million. It's now up to $1.2 million. So the 100,000 total input by the county would be about 0.83% of the total. So it's a small percentage of what the total is, but that would be our total for the program. Am I right, Lynn, that would you like to come up?
I think I need to know more about a feasibility study. I mean, that just seems like an incredible amount of money before you're really even doing anything.
Study, and Lynn can explain that to you.
Sure.
I mean, I understand you need good plans
Yes.
before you start anything.
Exactly.
So
There's several components of the study. The first component actually is to do an architectural concept plan and exhibit concept plan, because those are the drivers, the cost drivers, the drivers for a marketing study, which you generously funded through the whole hotel tax already. You have to know what you're offering and be able to describe it and the scope and scale before you can ask consumers in a marketing study, for example, would you come to this? And determine the number of consumers that would come and the price. So that's the first part, architectural and exhibit concept study. Then the second piece is the marketing study, which you've, again, generously funded. That's a consumer demand study, asking consumers. We need to validate that 600,000 attendance number that we're projecting. That's the most important number for a project of this scope. That determines everything. That determines the financial viability and the operations itself.
could you repeat that?
Yes, 600,000. So the marketing, the attendance number, which is what we are hoping to validate with the marketing study that you have funded, is the most important number for the operation. The attendance represents how many visitors come in the building. That means how many potentially buy food, how many potentially go to an aquarium restaurant, how many potentially go to an IMAX theater, how many potentially choose to pay for a traveling exhibit. So for the operation, our financial model is based on attendance. Our operating budget model is based on attendance. For the city of Easton and the county, obviously that operating budget model is very important. For the parking studies, for the traffic studies, for the revenue that these visitors are going to potentially generate in the community, it's all about attendance. So that's then the marketing study. And then we have done a lot of work ourselves already around the business planning. But when we have this data, then we need to do a very deep dive, and that's what we're requesting. Let me say this, a very deep dive into an operating business plan. And what we're proposing your funds be used for is a third-party review, because there's nothing more important, again, than the business projections that we have. We have identified several consultants. We included one in the proposal that do this kind of view. The one that's included in the proposal has done over 800 of these with science centers and aquariums across the country. And they essentially come in and look at your tourist market, your residential market, your history of hotel stays. They look at all that data. They kind of confirm this attendance number you're projecting, and then they compare it to this database of 800 science centers and aquariums to see in our size market if it's reasonable, if what we're projecting makes sense. And then they go through all the aspects of the operating plan, your personnel plan, everything, to see how it stacks up. And I think that that's really important for the viability of the project. And the most important thing that we're doing during this period is investigating the financial feasibility of raising $130 million. So our goal is to raise 65% of that over the next year or so. We've done a lot of homework investigating where we might get those funds from, and so we're working very hard, obviously, to raise those funds. We haven't requested specific funding for that from the county. We've specifically requested funding for things that we think relate to the county's greatest interest. You know, what's the marketing? Are we going to get these visitors in that we're projecting? And is this going to be a financially viable operation ongoing? And how will it impact? How will those numbers of visitors impact the economy? So, is that
Mark,
helpful?
I don't have my budget here. What dollars are in that tax that,
The 1995.
if we take another 50 out of that, what's going to be in?
Sorry.
So
Help me with numbers.
My recollection for 2017, there will be over $300,000. $316,000.
316.
And what was spent, I know that there was 50,000.
So there was
For
50,000
that.
allocated to this already.
From
Right.
table game
From
funds, not from
no,
this fund.
from
Hotel tax.
From hotel tax.
But
From
I mean,
the
hotel tax 2005.
2005.
Yes,
Okay.
2005.
No, I thought we decided that he was going to take it out of table games and not take it out of hotel tax because it was a study. Wasn't that what we did? Now you're trying to take it out of hotel tax.
No.
from the fund.
The-
It was out of hotel tax,
It's in
2005.
the 50,000 that has been allocated is out of hotel tax.
I'm sure of that, Ken.
The 05 hotel tax.
Yes.
So far.
Yeah, which is what
2005.
we use to build things.
Yep.
If I may, Peg. Peg.
Yes.
Listen, when Jeffrey Parks came here and wanted money for his thing, he had all this stuff done already. He had a plan. I mean, it was a brownfield. There was nothing there except for old steel buildings. And he said, this is what I want to do. And he did all this due diligence. Now you want us to pay to do the due diligence, to pay the money to build an aquarium. That's probably already been delayed by what I'm hearing by 2 years at least to even think about you're going to get it out of the ground. So I think it's kind of really premature to keep throwing money at something that's a pipe dream. Now, I've already volunteered to dive in this aquarium if it happens, and I'm excited that they're thinking of doing it. But I'm not going to support funding any more money for this until they start funding it on their own and get a real study and bring it to us saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we can do. Why do I have to pay for all these studies for us to spend our money? I mean, the 50,000 I was all right with. I really wasn't, but I was because, you know, I kind of like Easton a little bit. Tiny bit, Bob. But you keep coming back to the trough. I've got to say no. I mean, you've got to put something in it and do your own studies and bring it back to us and say, hey, this is a viable thing. We're moving forward. Everything I've heard is a pipe dream. Sal's going to buy the hotel. I mean, the mayor's going to buy the hotel. They're going to tear it down for $300,000. Nobody knows where the money's coming from. They're already nailing us with a tax for their pensions because they can't afford that right now. Everybody that works here gets nailed for a tax. And now you just want us to throw more money at something that's possibly going to happen. Maybe 5 years down the road. Heck, I'll be living in Hawaii. I won't even be able to dive in the aquarium. So I'm really against throwing any more money at this.
I understand your viewpoint, and I can only say that the SIP review team did go through this and review it and had a positive response to it and felt that it was a viable addition to the other award that had been made.
Yeah, well,
And
I'm
that the
hearing it's a viable.
$100,000 was the
They're
limit.
saying what they're saying. It sounds very good, warm and fuzzy and cozy. Put an aquarium, bring all these hundreds of thousands of people a year here, and they're going to stay in hotels that, quite frankly, Easton doesn't even have built. They're going to come here and have all these trips and everything. But like I said, when Parks did it and PBS 39 did it, Banana Factory did it, they had all this study done already. They did all this stuff and told us this is what we're going to do. And, you know, 80% of the people here at this dais thought they were nuts, if you remember, Peg. But they did it. You know, they had their numbers and it worked, and it's working. So I know there are other plans coming out that are more viable that we can fund, that are going to actually get shovels in the ground and build things to bring more people for hotels.
Right.
And I just think this is too premature
Well,
to keep throwing stuff at.
We're not asking for the money tonight. What we're asking is to be able to bring it to the committee and bring it to council the same way we did all the other SIP projects. That we had, this one we had set on hold because of an issue that none of the other projects had, but otherwise it would have come up at the same time that the other projects came up. So that's all we're asking is permission to bring it forward.
So what you're asking us now is 100,000 instead of 50.
It'll be a total of $100,000 investment on the now $1.2 million process that they have for all those items that she suggested.
But just so everybody understands, your ask is not for 100,000, it's for 50,000. We've already
Correct.
approved the 50,000.
Right.
And,
So, you know,
well, I mean, it's not splitting hairs because we've actually already approved.
Well, we
50,000.
approved 50.
But the problem here is, when we did these grants to PBS, whatever the heck it was, they took that money and leveraged it to make more money. They already had a plan. And that 100,000 we gave them a year for 5 years, whatever it was, I can't remember the numbers, Peg. I don't have it in front of me.
Right.
They turned that into millions and millions of dollars. They were here with the report a couple times. I mean, even you were here when they came in and told us. I think you were here when Jeff Parks came in
I
once.
was, yeah.
I mean, it was amazing what they turned it into. This is just, hey, throw money at it, and we're going to do a study to see if we can build something. And I don't think that's that 05 tax was intended for, hey, let's do studies and think what we can do. This is what we're going to do with the money to improve hotel stays and bring more people here.
I'm going to take an opposite view of what you're saying.
Well, I knew you would.
Only because
Because it's Easton.
Because it's Easton, like you would for Bethlehem.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd fight for the Hotel Bethlehem and the Sands and
Yeah,
everybody
of
else.
course I
But
would.
the fact is that this was vetted well at the SIP program at the committee, and they do have plans. They're not here. I mean, I've seen them, I'm assuming that they will bring those plans to show you at the next economic development program. I think what they've done with their marketing, their feasibility studies, and their exhibit concepts are worthwhile at least pursuing, at least for another $50,000. If you have potential for millions into this county, I think it's worth a look and see. And we didn't turn money down to ArtsQuest or PBS or the Sands or to the Hotel Bethlehem. We actually gave money to the State Theater this year. There are things that we contribute to that have brought and kept things intact that we need. So with respect, I'm taking the opposite view because I think it's a worthwhile cause.
I still think it's a worthwhile cause, and I'd love to see an aquarium built there, but I don't think it has to be studied, feasibility and all, because you're saying you saw drawings already and everything the woman spoke to, that we have to pay for that study. It should be done, it should be come to us that this is what we're going to do, and these are the projected things. So I'm fine with the 50, I'm going to vote no for any more, that's all.
But, now I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
May we bring this to you
Sure.
at the next
Yes.
meeting and
Yes.
bring it forward, and then
Yes.
you can continue your vetting?
Yeah,
Yes.
one more thing about the hotel, okay? I know you mentioned that Easton doesn't have enough places to put people.
Yeah, we're going to build them, I know. It's a plan.
Well, that's what I believe. That's the idea. Is to economic growth is that you do something and then they come. That's the idea.
I'm all on board for Easton building. I could build 27 hotels, and we could put it to Lehigh County in the amount of hotel tax we bring in. I'd love that. You know, I want to see it succeed because,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm already diving in it to clean the glass off for you.
We're going to make sure
It's
there's
your,
sharks in there.
it's your. I think it'll be.
I will. I like
it'll be a
diving
lot of
with
your.
sharks.
It'll be a lot of your contractors that'll be involved too.
No, you can't say that. I don't know. But, yeah.
But this is just, our 100,000 would only be a small, would be
Yeah,
a,
it'd be 8.3% of the
Eight.
total.
0.83%.
0.83%, yeah. Thank you.
where's the other money coming from?
They've just hired Jennifer Gillio, who worked with me at Lehigh University and is an amazing fundraiser. And
Okay.
she's got quite a substantial fundraising plan in place already. And I had lunch with her the other day, and we were talking about her plans for it. And it's very impressive how quickly she's put things together. And she's taken what Lynn created and just is building up on it.
Okay.
And they've got quite a number of prospects. So I feel very comfortable that the money that we're recommending, the $50,000 and this other $50,000, is a good investment for the county toward this project because it's an exciting project. It's thinking way outside the box, and it's taking risks. But it looks good at this point from our perspective, from an economic development and a community development.
I'll be looking for my invitation to donate.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr.
Just,
Kuzic?
I'll share some of Mr. Kraft's concerns. I think $100,000 for a feasibility study is more than I'm willing to spend. I want more of a commitment. My concerns have been at that location specifically, traffic and parking. As someone who comes here through that intersection, I have to sit sometimes through 2 traffic lights to get from 611 to make a left turn. And so I have significant concerns about the traffic at that location, parking, and then on top of that, I hear that the ask is $130 million. Now, Mr. Werner and I have been around the city of Easton long enough to know how long it took just to build a bus station. That was 20 years in the making. So I'm, excuse me for being somewhat pessimistic, but when I hear we're going to raise $130 million, I would just say that the taxpayers need to hold on to their wallets, because that is a big ask. And I have a high degree of skepticism that that amount of money can be raised through donations. So I will be voting no on the additional $50,000. I think I would like to see something more preliminary done before we continue to commit money. Some of this is groundwork that should be laid before groups come before us for that amount of money. So $50,000 that we put already towards it, I think that for a good study, that's an adequate amount of money. But when I hear feasibility studies, oftentimes the amount of money that goes to consultants, lawyers, and engineers without even putting a shovel in the ground sometimes can be troubling. And what Easton went through with what was Riverwalk and the bus station, I have concerns that we may be repeating that again here. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you. So we can move on. I've provided everybody with an executive summary and some detail about what we did over in 2016. So we want to give you a quick overview. These are the folks. Dave Hughes is out at the new Job Corps doing one of the things that we all do, which is represent the county at boards and authorities. But here's the folks, Karen and Frank and Mike and Mark. These are the guys who did everything that you see in here this year, with the exception of the first maybe 3 months. So we're going to go through really quick, and we're going to, as you know, we have a mission to encourage and stimulate economic and community development. So that's what all of our actions are after at the 30,000-foot level. But we're also interested in ensuring a continuing improvement in the quality of life. So we have to gauge all of our economic activities with the question: will people be better off? And is this what the municipalities want? And we take those into consideration. We take that very seriously. In the beginning of the year, we lost a person at the end of December. And then we proceeded to lose 4 more people by the end of May. And thank you for appointing me as acting director. I was asked to step up, and I did. And we have subsequently added 4 folks. And Sarah, who's going to be our new executive secretary, will start on Monday. So that will be our complement for now. But I have to say again, I can't impress upon you enough how much of an enormous task it was to take a stripped department and basically reorganize, restructure it, get everybody on board, and then peel through what our knowledge base was and our skill sets were to make sure that every single program ran, and we did. We had 14 grant and loan programs. They're listed up here. We administrated 2 authorities, the Gaming Authority and the General Purpose Authority. We also took over the administration of the Council of Governments, the county COG, which runs quarterly. We've had our first meeting in January. Excuse me. There are also 18 boards and nonprofit and municipal organizations that we have responsibility for representing the county at, and these run from the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, the Housing Authority, the various local organizations like the Greater Easton Development Partnership, and the various COGs, like the Nazareth COG, the Slate Belt COGs, the Saucon Valley Partnership. So my staff and I go to these meetings, and sometimes we present, sometimes we represent, sometimes we're there just to listen and bring information back. But it makes for a long week if you've been working, a long day, and then you get to go out and go to a meeting 3 days a week. Doesn't include council meetings. We didn't include those. Our prospect and business engagement, we had 20 existing businesses with about 225 jobs that we worked with. We work with these businesses because they come to us, or we see them and we go talk to them. There were 16 new business ventures that came to us this year with a potential of about 132 jobs. We started talking with these folks. Some of these conversations can take 18 months to 2 years to have fruition, but some of them take a lot less than that, and we had a couple of conversations with people with very interesting business models that we shared resources with, and it looks like they might be moving faster than that kind of longer range model. We manage the Gaming Authority. Karen is our executive director for the Gaming Authority. They had 2 rounds and an uncommitted round for a total of $2 million. There were 33 projects that were done. That's how many projects were managed. That's not how many applications came in. That's how many projects were run. So when we get all of these applications in, they have to be vetted, they have to be determined to be eligible, then they have to be reviewed, and the ones that are accepted, those are the ones that Karen writes contracts for and communicates with, make sure that we have all the information. And this is how we do these operations, not just with the Gaming Authority, but with all the programs that we administrate. Hotel room rental tax 2000, we had 32 projects for almost $500,000. There were also 2 special grants the council awarded, one to WDIY for $7,000 and one for Arts Quest. Yeah, come on, back up. Back up. It's not responding. Lovely. Okay. So we also administered the hotel room rental tax 2005. That was the end of this program this year, and so we had to make sure that we contacted both Arts Quest and PBS 39. We're getting closeout documents, and everything's in order to make sure that the money was spent in accordance with the wishes of the council when it was awarded. See if I can get back to that previous one. There it is. Karen provided this. This is kind of a picture of where all of the awards from the Gaming Authority went by municipality. Hotel tax, I'm sorry. Hotel tax by municipality. As you can see, the city of Bethlehem and the city of Easton got the lion's share, and Nazareth was the next one in line. But this changes year to year, but it doesn't change that much. So this gives you a good representation. This is not in your packets, but it is in the PowerPoint that we provided. Get to the next one. The next one. Okay. CDBG 2015 program year. We do all the work in 2015, and then we execute all the projects in 2016. There was $1.8 million worth of expenditures, and that included expenditures from previous years. Also, we gave 45 persons rental assistance, and another 35 got homeless prevention assistance. These are through the CDBG programs. And DCED held 11 fair housing seminars with North Bend Legal Services, one of our awardees, one of our subgrantees, and over 300 county residents attended. We also worked with North Penn Legal Services to develop, and I believe I handed it out, and if not the last time, the time before, the tenant rights handbook in both English and Spanish, and we distributed over 800 of those, most of them actually through the front of the courthouse. We get a lot of, we have stacks and stacks that go out through there, and it's a very well-received item. Yeah, there we go. City Revitalization Block Program, that's we give $100,000 and $50,000 to Bethlehem and Easton specifically for them to run projects that are important to them. And
it says Bethlehem.
we also have the Job Creation Grant Program. Council awarded one grant for $50,000, and the company is bringing in, at conclusion, a total of 31 living wage jobs. Living wage means it has to be more than 80% of what the average wage is in the county. That runs about $19.18 an hour. So all those jobs will be at that rate or higher. All right. Community development. I missed it. Okay. So community development, we have 22 SIP projects. That was $720,500. Those were in 2015. They implement in the following year. And we leveraged almost $500,000 with just those projects for a total investment of $761,000. That doesn't seem like a lot, but actually that's only 7 of the projects which actually closed during the year. There are still 15 projects of that group ongoing, so we don't know how much leverage that's going to be because all the money hasn't been spent yet. We don't have all the reports in yet. However, this number does include 21 facade projects for an average, for a total of $61,000. That's an average of a little over $2,000 per project, and it's very effective, and it's appreciated on the municipal level. The 2016 SIP program, we had 32 projects, $1.3 million, with total projected costs of about $4.6 million once all the leveraging is done. Council approved 19 projects. I'm sorry, that was 32 applications. Council approved 19 of those projects. The 2 councilmen were on our review team, and we're expected to leverage about $2 million from the 19 projects that will go forward. It's important to note that we're not just spending money, but we're leveraging money as well. And the participation by the municipalities is very important, and it really makes the projects more impactful. We also did affordable housing. I'm sorry? Leveraging, yes. So if we give a grant for a project and the municipality puts in an equal or greater amount, that's leveraged funds. So we're actually creating a project of much larger scope than we could do with just our grant money. They're putting, sometimes they'll do a one-to-one match, sometimes they'll have more, and then that will be leveraged funds. We also did affordable housing, emergency solutions grant, and first-time home buyers. The affordable housing, we job out to 8 different organizations, and we gave out about $238,000 for that. The emergency solutions grant is really the homelessness prevention. 222 people were affected by that. That was actually a 2-year program that was provided by the state. And of $130,000 that was allocated, we spent only $46,000 through our sub-grantees. So that's the one that we came back and we did not reapply for from the state. It's offered every year. We did not reapply for it. We came to council and we asked for funding to do it in a more efficient way to affect more people. And we've actually started meeting with the sub-grantees and talking about how that might happen. We met with CACLV the other day to do that, and they're one of the big providers of programs like this. And so we expect to multiply those numbers significantly, and then the next year, once we've got this program demonstrated to be effective, the next year we'll go back to the state and ask for a lot more money, and we'll be able to serve even more people. The first-time homebuyer program, the total projects were $4.6 million. What's that? And where did that come from?
I don't know.
Oh, here it is. Oh no, I'm sorry. That is a misprint. I retract that. Program provides loans of up to $5,000. We dispersed $75,000, about $75,167, for closing costs for a total of 16 first-time home buyers. We had 4 banks, right? 4 banks, and then National Penn and Susquehanna merged into BB&T. So now we're down to 3 banks. We're going to be doing an RFP and get up to about 10 banks participating in this program. We're not the first people on the list for this. What we do is we come in and we provide closing costs and up to a limit of $5,000. So I apologize for that error on the screen. How much to it?
loan.
They apply. They apply.
So the program is set up, there's income qualifications, and so we rely on the qualified bank's underwriting, and when they get into a situation where there's that gap for the closing costs to get an income qualified home buyer into a home, that's where we come in, and it's a forgivable loan over, I believe it's 5 years. To get them into that home, and we've this program's been in existence for a long time. I want to say at least probably close to a decade, and it's funded with the Affordable Housing Trust Fund dollars.
What's the rate of people that actually stay in their homes if they really can't afford homes and pay the closing costs to get into? What's the rate of people that actually stay in their homes and look like foreclosure for years?
I don't think we've had a single. I don't think we've had a single foreclosure in this program.
Keep track after we give them the money?
We do, because there's a mortgage. There's a lien on their property. So as long as the requirement, I believe the loan is forgiven after 5 years. So after that 5-year period, we would satisfy our portion of the mortgage.
You only said $4.6 million. You just not had a heart attack.
No, it's not. It's not 4.6 million.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes, thank you. I have a couple quick questions. The city revitalization block grant, I remember you guys came here and, the Bethlehem came here and we gave them $100,000. And that was for the downtown study and the retention of that one staff member. Do they have plans of asking us for that next year or this year? Do you know? To continuing to retain that staff member?
I believe they will be in for a request this year.
Okay. Just wanted a heads up on that.
I don't know if it'll be for the same project or something different.
Okay. Sorry, I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
The Slate Belt Rising, I see you guys have partnered with the CAC LV, and then it says it's $600,000 in private investments.
It's actually $775,000.
Is that all donations?
It's for 3 banks and Waste Management, and they've pooled together. It's an EITC type program, but that's not the process that it goes through. It's a program where they have to commit a minimum of $50,000.
It's a
$50,000.
neighborhood partnership program, and so companies that make a commitment of at least $50,000 over for 6 years, so it's $300,000 over 6 years.
Yeah.
They receive an 80% tax credit from the state. So basically, when you combine it with your state and federal, it really costs the company about 13 cents on the dollar to make that investment.
That's like a state-run
It's a
tax
state-run
incentive
program. The state
Got it.
approves an application and the tax credits.
So what is CACLV?
Community Action Committee of the Lehigh Valley.
Okay.
That's
What-
Alan Jennings.
How are they helping with that partnership?
They actually made the application for it, and it's the first time that an application's been made for multiple municipalities to that program. And it's the
Interesting.
first time it's ever been awarded too. So this is a double first. And actually, they had the public announcement today up in Bangor, and all of the principals were there, and the DCED secretary was there from Pennsylvania. And they said it's a pretty unique program. It's going to deal with a number of things like economic development, crime reduction, facade programs, and community development in that respect. What was the other?
We're going to have a focus on housing, too.
Affordable housing, improving the housing stock. And
So who's administering the
CACLV is
and
running
they're
the
they're in
program.
charge of the funds too?
Yes. Yeah, they're running the
Is there
program.
any oversight of that, or because
I'm
that's a
sorry?
private
It's a non-profit
organization?
yeah.
Is there any oversight of that, or?
The state has very significant reporting requirements because it's an approved program by the state, so they oversee that. We have an additional $70,000 that the county has approved to go along with that in the first year. But all of the $775,000 over the 6 years will be overseen by the state, but also the partners who are putting the money in are going to want to know that it's being used right. So they're going to stay in very close touch. I spoke with 2 of the bankers today, and they're very interested to see the successes out of the program. They want to see that their money has been a good investment.
There's an advisory board that, think of it as like a nonprofit up there, that is comprised of all the stakeholders that oversees the budget. CACLV is the fiduciary. They're the ones that sign the contract with the state and have the ultimate say, so their board of directors also oversees it.
Okay. My next question is, sorry.
Go ahead. That's fine.
I'm a member of the LVEDC for the county council here, and there's discussions about bringing an Apple manufacturing plant to the Northampton, or the Lehigh Valley. Are you guys in discussions with them about that?
We stay in touch with them because we're the kind of department level liaison with them, and yes, we've talked. I talked with Don Cunningham. When did we meet with Don? Monday?
2 weeks ago. But
No. It was like Monday. We met on the. I was there. You weren't. Okay. I met with Don Cunningham Monday, but Mark stays in touch with Andrew Kleiner and some of the other members of LVEDC, and we're constantly, because we have to find out what they're doing so that we know how to be responsive at the Main Street level. And so when they talk about bringing 50,000 jobs in and things like that, we are very attentive, and we have been staying in touch.
Yeah, we're making that pitch for Northampton County, right?
Absolutely.
We've been
Okay.
coordinating sites with them that could accommodate a development of that site.
Right.
Yeah, because I had heard that they're looking at a site out, making proposals for sites in Lehigh County right now.
There are quite a number of places that are looking, but we sent 6 or 7 possible sites that could be, and so LVEDC is feeding that into the process.
Okay.
Mr. Kusick.
Are you done?
I just have one more.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
One more.
The name is slipping my mind, Peg. At the last annual meeting for LVEDC, remember the French pastry company?
Oh, yeah, in Forks
Can you give me an
Township.
update on them, guys? I haven't heard anything about them.
I think that's NORAC.
Yes. Are they
I
making
think
products
they're-
yet? Or?
Yeah, I think they're building. They're going through their permitting and approval process, and I believe it's under construction. But I can find out for sure where it is.
Yeah, if you could shoot us an email, let us know. Because, I mean, that's apparently going to be a big employer here,
Yeah.
even in the Sleep Belt. So.
It's going to be in
Forks
Forks.
Township. Forks Township.
It's kind of.
Kind of. Well, they could commute.
No, it's not, Peg.
It's in the same county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Route 115? If you recall, at last month's council meeting, we had a significant attendance from people opposed to, what was it, Synagro? What is the county's position on that, if any, and are we encouraging or discouraging that development? Do we have any role at all?
At this time, we don't have a role. We are neither encouraging nor discouraging. DCED is reviewing it and then discussing it with a number of players in our economic development area. We're also talking with the county executive about it, see what his perspective is. But we have not come to a conclusion as to how to be reactive to this. We really want to be proactive, and that's why we're taking our time pulling in information.
Okay. Then the other question I had, and this goes back several years ago, we passed Keystone Opportunity Zone properties. I believe there were a couple in Easton, the Governor Wolf Building, and the big one was the Dixie Cup in Wilson Borough. Can you give us an update as to where we are with those?
Dixie, we have been working with LVLRI to assist them. Kind of their next step in their redevelopment process is understanding the environmental concerns on that site. So we've helped them through a phase 1 and a phase 2, and we are now working with them to prepare a cleanup plan that will be submitted to the state. That's kind of where it is with them. It's a very challenging project, but it's moving along slowly. Now, just to be clear, with the KOZ status, they are not receiving a tax benefit currently. You have to do the development, and then the tax benefit kicks in. So that was a change when they first passed the KOZ legislation, I don't know, 20 years ago. People were getting designated, and then but they were allowed to take advantage of the tax-free status, and they would just sit on them. And then they changed the law that said, all right, if you're designated, you have to do the substantial improvement, and then you can apply and receive that benefit.
But
Okay.
isn't there the limitation, like the KOZ only lasts for 10 years? I know it's a 10-year program, they're for tax increasing. But our KOZ doesn't stay forever in the city of Easton and Dixie Cup, and it's been
Correct. There's
4 years now,
I think
maybe?
the way I understand the program, and I can research this further, the approval is typically for 10 years. And so my understanding is that means you have 10 years to do your project,
And then 10 years
and then
to
you
go.
apply for the benefit, and then you would get the benefit for 10 years.
Well, it's progressive. First you pay 10% tax, and the next year's 20%.
No,
that's
Alerta.
Alerta.
That's Alerta.
Oh.
KOZ is the most generous of those
that's
tax
worse.
abatement
Okay.
programs, where they wipe it out essentially for all 10 years.
So
Now,
that-
you can do pilots for them, but I think you have to have a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes. But I think you have to have that set up before the project would get the KOZ designation.
If they're getting such a lucrative tax break for 10 years, is that enact prevailing wage for the state for those jobs to be done?
I'm not sure of that.
Yeah, I don't recall offhand what the other ones were. I think was it the Black Diamond site in Easton?
yeah.
Simone.
That's
Black
a-
Diamond, Simone's Silk Mill, and I believe Simone's Silk Mill is participating in the project as they get portions of that completed.
Okay.
It's a huge part of the town.
I'm trying to think. I think
The
there
Governor Wolf Building is
Governor
almost
Wolf
done,
Building
isn't it?
is participating in it and taking
Yeah.
advantage of that. And that program was very helpful. Like, the Governor Wolf Building is fully leased, and part of the benefits of being in it, like if you live in that, you no longer have to pay state income tax. So it's all taxes are abated. So it is a helpful tool when it's used, but I've seen it throughout Allentown and a couple different places, and it is kind of hard to get the right project to take advantage of it and get it organized.
All right. Just
Anything else?
yeah, a
Mr. Cruz?
couple quick ones. We approved money for a blight study. Is that something that you've engaged already?
Yeah, we're currently working with the Planning Commission to develop the scope and move that forward.
Okay. And then the last one I had is Majestic lost its contract with Major League Baseball. Do you have any idea what the outlook there is? Have you heard anything?
I know LVEDC has been in discussions with them as far as what they can do, but beyond that, not much of an update. They're talking. I think it's still kind of early to understand. I think in an ideal scenario, Under Armour may acquire that asset, but that's pure speculation.
That's with my hope, that just move Under Armour in and let
Right.
them hire
And
the same
continue to
people and just
manufacture.
continue the venture.
Because I think a lot of it depends on whether or not Major League Baseball is requiring them to make the uniforms in the states.
I would
and
hope.
Under Armour, my understanding is that Under Armour currently doesn't have a U.S. manufacturing presence, so they would have to acquire that somewhere. And
Maybe the
better
big-
place than
All the junk's made overseas.
Maybe the
Under
big guy will
Armour's
tweet
buying up
about that
everything.
sometime soon and help us out. So
But Under Armour is buying up everything. They're getting pretty darn big. And Mr. Phillips, you have a question?
I actually have a statement for Synagro. I did talk to Becky Bradley, because that will have to go through and do the review process, and that's not on their horizon yet. So it's not at a stage where it's a package. And they do review it environmental impact. It would be what they call a development of regional significance, so it would be reviewed and go through the paces that way. One thing another different subject, but Bethlehem, and I believe that the school district approved alerta in the Liberty High School area, and there was some discussion about it going over to Moravian, but that was not done. I actually have it on my mental tickler that some point in time we're going to have a presentation that would ask us if we were willing to defer taxes on that, because the school district, the city, and the county has to approve that. Now, we've not been approved. Is there something that I don't know?
No, we've not been approached yet for them to do that, but we're aware that that would be a next step. Do you have any additional?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's approved Alerta Zone. They've gotten hung up on the boundaries.
Well, yeah, I think
the boundaries are going to be. So I think
yeah.
they're working through that. The process would be for them to go to the city would approve it first, then they would go to the school district, then they would bring it here.
I'm pretty sure the school. I'm pretty sure that the city approved it because they approved it without Moravian, and that was some discomfort by some folks.
I'd be happy to reach out to
Yeah.
the city and find out where they are with that.
We can email you. Let you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Madam Chair, that's all we had.
Okay. May I go back to one more question, back to the Da Vinci?
Yes.
How much of this $1 million for the feasibility study do they already have in pocket?
I believe it's about 202,000, and that includes our 50,000.
And that includes our 50.
Right. But that was all acquired before the new philanthropy officer was brought on board. So now Ms.
Okay.
Gilio, who's the philanthropy officer, she will now take that and move forward with that. And I've seen a few of the plans that she has as far as
Raising that money.
yeah, putting the pyramid together if we need standard fundraising
Okay.
process, and it's very impressive.
So I would think that
I'm much more optimistic than some people.
this would come at our next council meeting, not tonight.
Right.
No.
Peg, I have one question.
Yes.
The 33 Schrin project, that's a big economic development project, and that's pretty well built out, and they promised us money. And I asked about it, I don't know how many weeks ago. What's going on with that?
What's going on?
How much money have they given us? How much are they built out? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't know that they're that built out.
Well, they look like they're pretty darn built out.
So the latest announced development is the Amazon warehouse.
At the Schrin?
That's at the Schrin interchange. That's on Schrin land.
It's kind of far away from their airport, isn't it, where they're bringing all their planes in? Well, you're lucky Matt's not here. You'd have a heart attack about the truck traffic for that one.
Okay, anything else? Mr. Phillips?
Remind me, I thought we asked the controller to look into that.
Well, we
So
asked the controller, and I think we asked the executive. We've kind of asked everybody what's going on with the money and where it's at. I mean, Ron Engel did that. That was 6 years ago now.
Yeah, he and John
I think we
Stowe,
formed. I know we talked here, but my impression is that the controller is formally going to give us a report on that. So that's what I'm waiting for.
We're happy to check with Mr. Barron and make sure that that's...
Well, are you, because you're economic development, I'd like to know, I'd really like to know the percentage of what they're built out, when their full percentage of the project.
I think it was when the buildings were sold, or not exactly.
Yeah,
when
but
they
you
there's a
could lease them in
formula.
There was-
perpetuity. If I owned the property and the buildings, I'd lease them and say, I never sold them and not give you a dime. That's kind of
Well-
like not in the intent of what it was that we gave them that area for.
Right.
I think it was also pointed out that there was a formula they were
Yeah,
going to
there's a
use
formula,
that
yeah.
we don't
Know
that we
about.
weren't privy to yet. But apparently there was.
And provide you with a report. And
Okay,
Yeah.
good, thank you.
Yeah, maybe we got to bring Engel in to give us a lowdown on it one day.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. Anything else for
That's
the
all
good of
we
the
have.
order? Move to adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, I need you to talk to me read this. I need you to read this.
Well, he's doing okay.